Hey, 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 week four, week
Yes.
four. And it's February, and this cold that keeps going and coming and going. I think if I've got my tissue, so if I blow my nose, I apologize. My nose is streaming constantly for some reason today, but I feel all right. Um, cool. We are going to go straight in with not necessarily questions to start with, just a couple of little bits that I've noticed, and I think it's not just you don't really go to the gym much at the moment, do you? I guess.
No, I've got most of what I need at home, to be
Yeah.
fair.
And
Um,
you've got a boyfriend who shouldn't really be going to the gym at the moment.
well, he's not even home, but yeah. That's not to say he hasn't been going. He did go yesterday and I think the day before, but we won't talk about that.
No. um,
Yeah. But yeah,
but
no, for me it's mostly, yeah, I'm at home
yeah,
mostly.
so I have noticed in the last couple of weeks that the January New Year, New Me rush has started to die down. It's still busy at on certain times, certain days, the usual kind of evenings and mornings, but um, yeah, it's not so much this week's been a little bit busier because it's half term, which we'll talk about in a bit. But I think, yeah, on the whole, we've got that kind of motivation is dropping off, and I think that's kind of the main theme of this thread that I want to kind of talk about. It's just a couple of comments on the feedback. I need to sort myself out, or need to sort my shit out. Um, and that's something that I've heard not just on the feedback forums, but in the gym. And it's this idea of, I know what I need to do, um, but I'm just not doing it. And I think that is probably about right. So just angle myself there. Most people know what they should be doing for fat loss.
Yeah.
I guess, and if you talk to people, it's like if the goal is fat loss or the goal is fitness, I guess the everybody knows what they should be doing. It's kind of moving a bit more, being more active, maybe doing a bit of exercise. Should be eating better portion control, eating mostly whole food, drinking more, sleeping better. All everybody knows that's what they should be doing. Knowledge isn't the issue. I
Yeah.
think the big issue is um, what stops you from doing it, right? It's having a system and then what is actually stopping you from putting that system in place. I think the biggest mistake most people make is that they, especially at the start of the year, they kind of go all in, all guns blazing, everything's got to be perfect. I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week. I'm going to eat. I'm going to starve myself, and the weight's going to come off, and it's all going to be perfect. No, and especially at this time of year, I, were you? Did you go outside yesterday? It was
Yes.
freezing.
So cold.
It was bitter. So it's cold, it's wet. I think somebody said to me last week that um, it has rained every single day since the start of the year in the UK.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the UK has had rain every single day since the start of the year, which is unusual. It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. There's this cold that keeps going and coming back and going and coming back, and it keeps coming back to me. You've got stress because it just is. I mean, January is like 72 weeks long, and although it has flown, so there's lots of things that are impacting. And I think you've got to understand that there are lots of external stresses that are going to disrupt or try and disrupt your system. So what you've got to do is first of all build a system that you can fall back on, but have minimum, and we talk about these all the time, minimum baseline habits. We need to kind of think about, you know, what is the minimum version. Yes, I've got my optimal, I've got my perfect. This is what I really want to do every week. So 3 workouts, 2 runs, plan on my meals, all of that sort of stuff. But what is it that I can do when I can't achieve that? What can I fall back on? And then if you can do that, that's a win. So when you're thinking, I haven't got any wins to celebrate today or any wins to celebrate this week, if you've done your minimum baseline habits or a version of that, that is a win. You know, it might be like you have three workouts scheduled, but you only go to one. That's a win
Yeah.
because you could have gone to none. Yeah. If it's that, you know, you wanted to have every meal planned and perfect, but actually you ate out twice. Well, if the rest of the meals you were still eating on track, that's a win
Yeah.
because you could have blown the whole week up and gone completely off track. You know, it might be that you want to hit 10,000 steps every day, but if you still manage to hit sort of an average of 7,000 steps a day, that's still good considering the average person in the UK probably gets around three.
Yeah.
So, you know, you need to kind of look at those minimum baseline habits as wins. If you can do those, they are still going to be nudging that needle forward. Is it going to be as fast as if you got everything perfect? Obviously not, but that's absolutely fine. So I think the first thing is, you know, accept that life is going to disrupt your routine. It's going to knock things off track. That's normal. It's absolutely fine. What's not fine is you then giving everything up. Okay, it's the skill is in learning to accept that sometimes those minimum baseline habits are just all you can do. And if you can keep doing those, you're not going to go backwards. It will continue to just nudge that needle forward a little bit, but you are still making progress. And the big skill is making sure that you now, if you think you have lost those, your key, I think, not skill, the key thing you've got to focus on is rebuilding those basic baseline habits quickly. That's the skill. So I think about what you can achieve. So it be having three regular meals, like three typical meals a day. Can you do that? Can you have protein at least two of them, if not three? Can you slowly increase your if your steps of stuff suffered? Can you increase them week on week? There's another one. Can you do two training sessions? If you can't do three, can you do two? And if you can't do two strength-based sessions, can you do one and can you do something else?
Yeah.
Can you track your food Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? It might be that Friday, Saturday, Sunday is a little bit hard at the moment because you've got social occasions, but can you do 4 days a week? Because 4 days a week is better than none. Yeah. Um, Focus on those minimum baseline habits. And if you can do those, you can then build on them. And don't try and do them all at once. You know, if you can get those sorted, don't try and build on all of them all at once. You might go, well, next week I'm going to try and track 5 days. I'll keep everything else the same, and next week I'll try and track 5 days. After that, it might be that I try and increase my steps a little bit more and track 5 days. Then it could be, right, I'm going to have protein at every meal, track 5 days, and get my steps up to 7,000 K and then build and build. And it might seem slow, but if you do that week on week and you get back to that in 3 months' time, you will be in a completely different place and you will feel better. And you'll look back on now and think, why was I ever stressed?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you're a prime example of that. If you think back to I always say, you know, when you broke your ankle, and
Yeah.
I kept saying to you, in 6 months' time, you'll look back on this and you'll laugh.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like, this time of year it is really, really difficult. And I think sometimes then it feels like you just have those weeks where everything sort of comes at once. And I know for me, like there's been days where I've missed training sessions, I've not felt great about it. And then I laughed last night, like anyone that's got a Garmin or if you follow enough fitness stuff on Instagram, you get all the reels how like Apple Watch is nice, Garmin is evil. Like Apple Watch would be like, well done for trying today. You did 600 steps and you're amazing. And Garmin's like, you're terrible. You'll never be an athlete. My Garmin told me yesterday that I am not only, so they have like the different levels of like your training readiness.
Yeah,
Well, not only am I performing, I'm peaking,
there we
which is
go.
the highest level Garmin could give you. And I was like, well, everyone, I'm basically just a professional athlete at this level. So get me in the Olympics. So it just goes to show that actually, sometimes if you are feeling like I'm really tired, a little bit overwhelmed, having a couple of days where you're not training as much actually
Yeah,
isn't a terrible thing. Like you can still keep that fitness and you can then keep building.
yeah,
And actually, like I haven't lost any fitness. I've led the group the group rides, I've, done everything I need to do. I've ticked those boxes. And actually, even just training and having that kind of routine, I feel so much better for.
Yeah,
So actually, I think sometimes if you start to miss sessions and then you start to have a few more meals out and you're not in that routine, you can actually start to feel worse for it. You can spiral quicker, feeling like, well, that's it. Like I say, I know what I need to do. I need to sort myself out. But actually, as soon as you start doing that, you'll start to feel better so
yeah.
quickly. Like, trust me, and you'll feel so much better in yourself for it. And you will,
But
like say, you'll get back to that normal routine
yeah,
quite quickly, and you'll build up from there. And like I say, you'll be in a completely different place.
but just focus on one or two things. And I did it this year. Last year for me was not a great one in terms of routines. I think my diagnosis for ADHD kind of hit me a little bit harder than I wanted to accept. And it's a little bit of a weird one. And I was kind of thinking, oh God, this is me. I'm always going to struggle with focus and da 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 da. And I thought, in January I just went no, and I just returned back to some simple basic things. So I think I've shown this the tracking sheet. I just went to that first of all, and I thought, right, I'm going to track my habits. I wasn't going to set anything in stone. It was 3 regular meals. I'm going to track my calories, track my protein, track my steps, and see just tracking. And first of all, it's awareness. And then it was like, right, okay, so what are my priorities? I kind of had a kick up the ass from a client as well who challenged me to a bit of a get in shape thing. So my priority was first of all get my proteins and calories sorted. So I did that, and I know because I know my basics of what to make meal wise, and you guys do as well. So I focused on that, and then it was right. Let's get my steps in. So I'm making sure I'm walking more. If I've got a spare 20 minutes, rather than sitting down, I'm going out and walking. I set myself reasonable. Like for me, training. I think my automatic brain goes, you should be training 6, 7 days a week. You should be lifting 6 or 7 days a week. I took it right back to basics. I do 3 main ones and then an optional extra, but I do train 3 or 4 times a week. I've then gone back into couch to 5K and I've started doing that as well. But I didn't start that from the beginning. I've done 5 weeks of strength training and then I started the couch to 5K because I thought actually I've got the capacity to do that now. I've nailed the first 2 weeks was getting calories and protein, then it was getting your workouts. I worked on sleep all the way through as well, but then I've gone couch to 5K and I feel so much better for it. And with that, my concentration on work and everything else is better. So yeah, start small, build, and it's amazing. I mean, in 6 weeks, the change in me physically and mentally is so much better. So yeah, start small and build. Right, next one. A couple of you are, I know Reet is on annual leave next week with a couple of social occasions. I know Gina's on half term. Social events, and this one really is again ties in. It's these aren't rules. I like to call them guardrails, guide rails, some simple kind of guidance to help you navigate that. And I'm not going to dwell on this because we've done it before, but it's a few basics things. Again, prioritize your protein. If you're going out, tracking food is difficult, okay, and we're not going to expect you to do that. But there are a few things that you can kind of do in and around the events. I think the first one is don't starve yourself. If you're going out for a meal in the evening, don't starve yourself and save calories because that just backfires. You go into the meal starving and you just go all in. Okay. So make sure you are eating normally throughout the day. If you want to have lighter meals and it's a slightly lower calories, that's fine. But prioritize your protein. It's got to be protein heavy and get your fiber in because that's going to keep you fuller and more satiated so that when you go to the evening, you're not feeling like you need to gnaw your arm off. Okay. With your meal, again, if there's something you really absolutely want, go for it. Have it. If you're looking at and I would say look at the menu in advance as well, because you are more likely to make rational choices in advance when you're there in a restaurant and you're looking at this menu and you've got a bit of pressure. You're not going to make better choices. So I would suggest looking at it before. But if you see something on the menu and think, do you know what, I really like that. Oh, I really want that tiramisu. Okay, it's not the most diet friendly food in the world, But if you really want it, have it with intention. Yeah. And then maybe base the rest of your choices around that. Remember the rule two of four. So, starter, main, dessert, drink. Go for two out of the four, three maximum. And then with alcohol, I guess it's just that moderation thing. Go out with intention of how many drinks you're going to have. Set a reasonable limit. Don't just go, oh, I'll have one. Because if you're going out for a romantic meal and you say, oh, I'm just going to have one, it's not going to happen. Don't lie to yourself, but say I'll have two or three, and I'll have soft drinks or non-alcoholic drinks in between, and pace them, and then also be sensible with the choices. If you're going to go out with and have like three fishbowl cocktails that are about 1,000 calories a piece, you're going to be hungover in the morning, which is not great. But again, choose sensibly and think about how you want to feel the following day as well because when you get to my age, hangovers are an absolute sod. So yeah, I don't think there's. Is there anything else I've missed there?
No, I don't think so. Like I say, it's just, yeah, planning it, protein, limit your alcohol, and yeah,
Yeah,
you'll see.
yeah. It's and I guess it's there are a few other things like you can ask for if you really wanted to be careful. You can ask for sauces on the side. You could instead of chips, you could ask for a side salad or extra veg. There's things like that, but that's kind of you want to enjoy the meal as well. But I know for me at the moment, I there are certain meals I always look at the menu and I choose before I go in. If I'm in a weight loss phase, fat loss phase, I choose before I go in, and I don't even look at the menu once I'm in there. I've made the choice and I go for it, and I choose something I like. Where we go to do a cracking chicken and bacon salad. It's got a lovely dressing. It's got grains and stuff in there. And then I have a side of cauliflower barbecue wings. They're banging. They sound weird, but they're absolutely lovely. Those two dishes together, it's quite calorific. It's about 900 calories. But you can go into a pub and pick up just a fish and chips, and it's like 1,500 calories.
Yeah.
But it's dead filling and it's dead tasty, and I'm satisfied. And then, I actually don't really need to eat anything else all day. I'll have a breakfast, I'll have that for my lunch, and then a really light kind of tea at night, and I'm stuffed, I'm full. But it serves the purpose. It's protein based, it's tasty. There's sauces on there. I ask for sauces separately if it comes with it. But yeah, oh, we've got Lando.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
Speaking
don't
of
apologize.
evening.
Yeah, so I think if you are going out and socializing, and you've got a few of those meals, plan them in, work around them. If you have that meal, it's then returning to the normal routine afterwards. One or two meals isn't going to undo a week or 2 weeks.
Yeah.
It's and a whole weekend doesn't really undo the progress. What does undo it is when that week, if you've got a week off, then turns into a month, and then it's really difficult to build. That's the key thing. It's trying to keep that momentum going. Okay, it's not motivation, it's momentum. Right. Question. Um, is it better to use up my calories by my evening meal, or should I have some left for a snack after? Or does it matter? I tend to feel hungry about 4 p.m., so wondering if I should have a more substantial snack then to see me through to tea time. What is your opinion on this?
So I think, like we've said before, it's overall calories at the end of the day is like your number one thing. How
Yeah,
you split them through the day is almost like down to preference. Um, but should you be saving like calories up for a snack? Not necessarily. Like it's not a need to have to do that. Um, so it's worth just having a look at how the rest of your day is structured.
yeah,
Are you getting enough protein in earlier in the day? Are you having breakfast? Is that focused around protein? Is your lunch focused around protein? Are you getting your fiber in? You're looking at 25 to 30 grams of protein at lunch. Like try and, really think of that and keep protein high at breakfast and lunch,
yeah,
and actually then see if you are finding that then about 4 o'clock you are hungry, then again, yes, have yourself a snack to see through till dinner. Again, look at your protein, look at your fiber to keep you going. Um, but I would say like look at how the rest of your day is structured first, because it might be that you necessarily don't then feel the need to eat. But I think it's really common, isn't it, that mid-afternoon slump that a lot of people get,
Yeah.
purely because, they're skipping breakfast, having a really light salad for lunch with, like, not really good protein source, and then they're trying to see themselves through for dinner, and then by the time it gets to the evening, they're absolutely starving.
Yeah.
So have a little look at what you're having earlier on in the day and just see if that helps. But yeah, if you like another way to look at it would be, if you prefer to split your meals over four smaller meals and have that at 4 o'clock, as like a protein rich snack, then absolutely, if
Yeah.
you prefer that. But should you need to? Not necessarily, because as we said before, it's the overall calories that matter more than anything. So yeah, have a look at the rest of your day. I'd say see how that's structured first. Make sure that you're getting that protein and fiber in as a number one. See if you're making changes there, if that makes a difference, and then have a look at having like that 4 o'clock snack if you feel like you need to.
The other thing I would add to it as well is have a look at, it's not just are you hungry? Have a look at what you're doing at that time, because quite often at 4 o'clock, especially if you're a parent,
Yeah.
you suddenly, during the day you're occupied, so you're not generally, when you're busy you forget to eat, but when you suddenly stop, so it might be that you've had breakfast, you've had a really light lunch on the go that you've been eating at your desk or whatever, wolf it down, you're not thought about it, and it's quite small because that's all you've got time for. And then all of a sudden at 4 or 5 o'clock you stop, and then because you stop, that hunger will kick in, and that's when you get that crash, um, and that's when you're eating. So it could be that actually it's because you've stopped. Now it one of the things is maybe use some distraction techniques to keep you going for tea time. It could be like, oh, can I wait an hour and have my dinner at say 5, 5:30? If that's the case, do it. And again, in the evening, if you find that you're snacking in the evening, it's generally because you've stopped and you sat down and you're bored. And it's kind of, and that's fine. Those cravings are normal, but it's recognizing why you're having those cravings. Are you actually hungry, or is it just because you want something to do with your hands and you're looking for that dopamine hit, and it's what can I do instead? That's the thing there, and it's that awareness. And actually, if you say, right, okay, I feel like a piece of chocolate at 8:30, stop. They call it the halt method, so it's kind of stop and think, is it hunger? Are you angry? Is it an emotional thing? Are you angry, you're lonely, you're tired? Is it an emotional response? Is it an energy level response, which again goes back to what you're saying, look at what you're eating early in the day, or are you genuinely hungry? If you're hungry, eat something. If it's
Yeah.
something else, address that underlying cause. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think you're absolutely right. If you are somebody who wants to have, or if it's something that you need to have that snack at 4 o'clock, split your food across 4 meals. I'm somebody who needs to do that because I eat stupidly early most days. I mean, I'm at the gym for 5:30, 4:45. I'll have my breakfast then. My lunch, I have a gap about 11 o'clock, so I tend to have my lunch at 11. I'll then eat something, say 4 o'clock ish, because I've had my lunch at 11 o'clock, and then I'll have my evening meal sort of 7:30, 8 o'clock once I finish work. So I do split my food across 4 days, 4 days, 4 meals. But what I would say is that I have good substance. It's that 4 o'clock mid afternoon. It's
Yeah.
not a light snack. It's something substantial. It could
Yeah.
be a protein shake and a piece of fruit, but it's something that's got some substance to it. It's not just a biscuit or a small protein bar. It's got something that's with some substance. Um, yeah. So have a look at, as Alice said, maybe split it across 4 meals. But I would say, really, by the evening, you should have been eating at least 2/3 of your calories. So if you're on sort of 1,600 calories a day, 1,600 calories a day, you need to be getting to your evening meal having eaten somewhere in the region of 1,000 calories. And it might only leave you with 600 calories at the end of the day, but it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think I need to eat more in the evening and therefore I'm going to save my calories earlier on, you will be hungry and you will need to eat more. Whereas actually, if you eat earlier in the day, you'll find that you're less hungry in the evening. And it's the old phrase is breakfast like a king, lunch like a lord, supper like a pauper. it's true. If you eat more earlier on, you'll find that you're less hungry later on. Um, so yeah, just try that. That's the key thing with that one. All right. Just one. Well, there's a couple of things. Dead quick. I've had a couple of questions in the gym, and this is something that's come through on my socials. Diet drinks and sweeteners. Questions around them are do they cause fat gain, and are sweeteners okay? Um, what are your thoughts on diet drinks?
Absolutely fine. I mean, if you are having like 10 cans a day and not really drinking any water, you'd probably maybe want to look at how you're hydrating.
Yeah,
Um, if you're just having one a day or one every now and then, like absolutely fine. Like
yeah.
they're not
Even a
going to
couple a
make you
day.
gain weight.
Even a
Yeah.
couple a
Couple of
day.
days, absolutely fine. Because actually, like they are 0 calories, so
Yeah.
they're not contributing to your calorie intake. Like they can't make you gain weight.
No.
What some people do find is that because they're sweet, it then makes them crave sweet things. So if you are someone that when you have a diet drink, you're then like, oh, now I want something else, or you tend to find yourself then reaching for other things, then that's more likely what's going to
Yeah.
affect
And
that weight,
that's
not the diet drinking itself. Like they're not a
yeah.
problem.
And that's more of a psychological thing. It's not
Yeah,
it's not a physical thing. So those diet drinks won't physically cause you to crave sweet things. It's a psychological thing. And it's like, oh, I've had something
yeah.
sweet. I mean, they've done loads of studies on this. One of the papers that I've read recently, because I've done a post, a reel on this, if you want to check that out. But one of the papers I read recently was they compared um, sugar-free beverages. So they replaced full sugar Coke with sugar-free Coke, and that directly caused weight loss. Just with no other changes, that caused weight loss. And then the other thing they did was that they put two groups of people on an identical diet plan. One of them they gave water, and one of them they said that they needed to drink these diet drinks. And the diet drink group, both groups lost weight, but the diet drink groups lost a significant amount more. So a significant, not a huge amount, but a statistically significant amount more than those who were drinking water. But in all of the studies that they've done, diet drinks lead to weight loss.
Yes.
So in terms of that, if you're replacing sugary drinks with diet drinks, they lead to weight loss. The sweetener stuff, the studies, you'll hear all sorts of studies. They're done on animals. We're not mice. That's the first thing. And then the amounts that they give them were just so the way
It's
it
a lot.
works. Oh, it's nuts. So the way it works, they basically on purpose give mice these amounts to the point where they cause toxicity. And then what they do is they extrapolate that to human quantities and they say that's the toxic level. And then they divide it by 100 and then they say that's your safe level. So the safe level is 100 times less than the toxic level. And they do that to be absolutely certain that there's no danger. Now, for you to get even close to the safe level, like that's the safe limit, you would need to be drinking in excess of 25 cans of Diet Coke a day,
Every day.
every
Yeah.
single day for a prolonged period of time, and because these things, it takes time to build up. And the other side of things as well, when they talk about all the breakdown products, like some of them, they said these sweeteners, they will break down into formaldehyde in our body. Formaldehyde is naturally in your diet. You can get that in fruit and veg. You can get all sorts of these other chemicals that it breaks down into in our food. The poison is the dose. That's the key thing. And if you are consuming a typical average normal amount of 2, 3, 4 cans max, like most people, it's like they might get a 4 pack and they drink that in a day. I think the average person probably drinks one or two a day. Absolutely fine. Going to cause no issues. Doesn't, there's no sugar in it, so it can't cause insulin spikes. It's not going to affect blood glucose levels. Perfectly fine. Anybody who spouts that it causes cancer or is bad for you, unfollow them straight away. Get rid of them. They're just, yeah. And if they're called Tonic Health, give him abuse online because he deserves it. It drives me mad. Right. Last one. Is protein granola worth it? Now, we covered granola last week and we talked about whether it's fattening or not. This is another one. So and I spoke to this person, but they wanted to know, is the protein stuff worth it? And me and Alice were saying before the call that this opens up a bigger and I think we have spoken about it before, but a bigger issue, um, protein labeling. I
Yeah.
mean,
Have
we
you
could go into
seen?
huge depth, but we won't want to.
There's one now. Baby Bell have now launched a protein Baby
Oh
Bell
yeah.
that contains 5 grams of protein, the exact same as a Baby Bell.
And
So,
how much more is it than the
oh,
baby
I
Bell
looked the
Light?
other day. I should have. I can't remember, but they charge more for it.
Yeah.
Same as like protein bagels, protein wraps. Like it's 1 or 2 grams, but you charge more, and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So look, sometimes there is more. Like I actually made a mistake. I made a mistake today. I'll admit. Um, my colleague asked me to stop and get like like just a meal deal for them at work today, and I was like, she didn't give me any instructions, but I know that she's trying to focus on like what she's eating. So I was like, right, we won't get the chocolate bars or anything like that. And they had the yogurt pouches. They were just normal yogurt, and I thought, okay, well that'll help boost the protein. Pick one up, pay for it, and then when I got to work and I looked at them, the normal ones, not the ones that are protein ones, have only got 4 grams of protein in them.
Yeah.
Whereas next to it was the actual same size pouch, but it was 25 grams. So some things it's worth checking, and the
Yeah.
protein labeling is worth it.
Yeah.
And I should have checked because I know better. But other things like say like with the baby bells, like with the wraps, you're just paying more for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key ones is like some of the protein yogurts. Now, the yogurt protein yogurt pouch is actually really good, uh,
Mhm.
but some of them, like the is it? Oh, I can't remember the branding. Go Pro or something like that.
Yeah,
Yogurt.
yeah.
So
GoPro, yeah.
if you look at that and you look at per 100 grams, it comes out at something like 9 grams of protein
Yeah.
and 80 something calories. If you go to the zero fat Greek yogurt, it's 55 to 60 calories per 100 grams and 10 to 11 grams of protein. So and it's like the GoPro stuff is like twice the price.
Yeah,
So
really
I mean, okay, it's
expensive.
got flavorings in there, but go for something like the Lindel's Kvarg. That's
Yeah,
that's good. It's low calorie, low sugar, low fat. If the goal is fat loss, um, yeah, just be careful with it. And I think the easiest way of doing it is looking at the label. Be, as Alice says, look at the label. Be label aware. Um, look per 100 grams how many calories it's got, and look at how much protein. If something is claiming to be high protein, now legally, as long as it's got like is 20% of its calories are from protein,
yeah,
it can be called high protein. That's the legal definition. That doesn't make it a high protein food. What I would say is look at the calorie to protein ratio. Now, what I mean by that is that look at calories per 100 and protein per 100. If you take the number of calories and you knock the last zero off or the last number off, and then compare the number of that number with the protein number, if they're roughly similar, it's high protein. It's very high protein. If it's nowhere near, then it's not that great. So, for example, a grenade protein bar, it's about 200 calories for the bar, and it's about 20 grams of protein. If you knock the last zero off, 200 becomes 20. They're roughly equal. That's a high protein food. That's fine. If you were looking at the nature peanut bars, where they claim are high protein, they're 250 calories, and they contain somewhere in the region of 8 to 10 grams of protein. So it's around about 40 calories, which meets that threshold for 20%. So they
yeah,
can claim to be high protein. But if you go 250, take the zero off, that's 25, and then compare it to like 10 grams, I think it is, that's not a high protein food. Okay. So it's just being aware. So if you look at the number of calories, compare it to the amount of protein. If you've got 10 calories per gram of protein or fewer, that's great. Go with it. If it's sort of 10 to 15, it's all right. But if you're looking at 20 calories per gram of protein, that food's not a high protein. And just compare to the non-protein option as well, because sometimes you find that the non-protein labeled option is better and it's a lot cheaper.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've just had another one sort of fired through as well, talking about, and this we'll cover another time, but low fat foods are better. Just be careful of that one. That one's a big one at the moment where people are going. you they're attacking low fat foods and saying some low fat foods are high in sugar. And what they're doing is that they're bringing in zero fat yogurt, like zero fat Greek yogurt into it and going, that's terrible because it's high in sugar. No. Just be careful of that one. Low fat foods do not necessarily mean healthy. We need fats within our diet. That's absolutely fine. Low fat dairy food is probably better for you because dairy food contains a lot of saturated fat, which is the fat that we
Yep.
don't necessarily want. However, we do want some fats in there, but we want them from unsaturated sources. So avocados, oily fish, seed oils. And if anybody sort of says seed oils are bad, unfollow them straight away because they do not know what they're talking about.
Yep.
Every little bit of research that's been done on seed oils, at the worst, they are neutral and don't cause issues. They're neither beneficial or harmful. At the best, they're actually anti-inflammatory and are more healthful. And if you compare them to saturated fats, unsaturated fats from seed oils are going to be much better for you. Again, it's poisons in the dose. The reason they get demonized is that you tend to find a lot of them in junk food because they're fried food and people, the places fry it in seed oils. Just don't eat loads of junk food.
Yeah.
Simple as
Easiest bit of advice.
yeah. That's the easiest way. Right, I think that's pretty much it. I think we've
Yeah,
covered
I
it.
think so.
Cool. That was it. There was some really good ones there, and I think hopefully, the stuff on mindset and just the stuff at the beginning helped. Hopefully, will help to kind of um, keep you going, keep you motivated. I'll keep putting some messages in the group, and I'll keep touching base with everybody over the next few days. And then I'll do feedback. I've started doing the feedback on a Sunday night and a little bit of feedback on that, so I can send it out either early Sunday morning or late Sunday night so that you're kind of going into the week with that feedback. If that's better, let us know. If you prefer it to be Monday, let me know. But I quite like doing it on a Sunday evening, just going through everything because it's quiet and I've done my meal prep and I'm just sat ready for the week to go. All right. I think that's everything. I've got hiccups now.
Good timing.
Oh, right. Okay, guys, we'll catch you next week. And well, other than that, it's time to say goodbye.
Yes. Bye.
Bye.